Well, hello, and welcome to the Movie Guard Society podcast brought to you by Nerdtropolis. I'm your host, Sean Toshworth, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and joining me once again is my co-host, Drew Manhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind. And I guess we're on a roll now. We have a special night, I guess you can say, tonight.
We are. We're doing our own. I guess we should have worn tuxes, really, right? Like we should have made it a black tie event and really had, dressed up for our awards ceremony here.
Yeah, episode 61, this is one of our most exciting episodes yet. But I do want to take the time to really, it's been a wild week, especially we're talking movies. And I want to take a moment to send some love and support from all of us out here at Nerdtropolis to all the residents of Los Angeles battling the sad and overwhelming ordeal of crazy fires. I myself flew out there early in the week to go to the Critics' Choice Awards. Once I landed, all news broke that everything pretty much got canceled. So I just got on the plane, came right back. But it was just heartbreaking flying into the airport and seeing all the smoke, smelling it as well, which was super wild to experience. So I feel for everyone there. Huge shout out to all the firefighters, first responders, everyone on the ground putting their lives at risk. I mean, it's not over yet. They're still battling it. I do want to put this up. If you want to support the efforts out there, these are organizations I have vetted and many others have vetted. I know there's a lot of organizations out there, but I'm going to leave this actually out throughout the show on this ticker. If you want to support and help with the wildfire relief efforts out there, but it's just crazy. I feel sorry for everyone there. I have a lot of friends out there that are doing okay, and then some that have friends that, they lost everything. So Los Angeles, please stay strong. We're thinking of you. And yeah, it's just unbelievable for sure.
Well said. Yeah, I echo everything you say. I couldn't say it better. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, of course. And on that note, we do want to roll out the virtual red carpet for our Nerdtropolis Awards. I call them the 2024 Nerdtropolis Awards, and people question, why is it 2024? Usually we actually do them at the end of the year, but things happen and we push things, ahead. But also it's about films for 2024. So Drew, do you get why award ceremonies, do the 2025 whatever? But I understand it takes place in 2025, and none of the films are 2025. Does that bother you as much as it bothers me?
Yes, explaining release window and timing for awards movies I've studied it for a long time and I still find it baffling. Like there are movies that are eligible for the upcoming awards ceremony, like the upcoming Oscars and everything, that haven't even been widely released here yet. They're still, they maybe got like a limited release for a couple weeks or, in New York and LA or somewhere, whatever, to get basically to qualify for awards consideration. But here where we're at, we still have no availability of those movies, things like that. So it's just, and then when you get into like the Emmys and different things like that and what they do as their year, it's very odd.
Yeah, and 2024 was just an odd year for movies. I've told you this before. A lot of small movies making a splash, which is amazing. And I love seeing that, which is really awesome. Before I do, we jump in all of this. I've been busy as well, Drew. I've been having a lot of fun with a lot of fun interviews that I want to share about. So I just finished watching all episodes of the new Goosebumps anthology series, The Vanishing. Drew, if you've not watched the first season, they're not connected, by the way. They're just part of this franchise. Highly recommend it. This one, The Vanishing, loved it. I just finished it, and man, it's really creepy. A lot of cool stuff in it. Got to talk to the cast, Sam McCarthy and Jaden Bartels, who play twins on the show, and their dad is played by David Schwimmer from Friends. Who's actually fantastic on that. So I have this interview on the Nerdtropolis YouTube channel and on our website and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Shifting Gears is a brand new show on ABC. I spoke to Daryl Chill Mitchell and Sean William Scott, Sean with 2 N's, and they star in the Shifting Gears show on ABC, which is really fun because the cool part of this, let me get to it. Out of order there. Mr. Tim Allen himself is on the show. I got to talk to Santa, as you can see, as his Zoom name, which is awesome. This is one of our biggest interview videos, Drew. Last time I checked, it's like 41,000 views. It's pretty wild. So I appreciate everyone that's really enjoying this really authentic conversation I had with Mr. Tim Allen about cars, about the show, And he's had some great stuff to say about shifting gears. And then going back real quick, St. Dennis Medical is a great show on NBC. I spoke to Josh Lawson, who's on that. He's a chameleon actor, man. He is Kano in Mortal Kombat. Does that look like Kano to you? He's a super funny guy. He's hilarious on St. Dennis Medical and teased his return as Kano. So I mean, some fun stuff that we have on the side, and more coming for sure. But yeah, Mortal Kombat is one of the movies I keep forgetting that's coming out this year, Drew. It's pretty wild.
I did actually watch the first episode of Shifting Gears too. So I have to say there's something that's always a little odd. I don't watch as many like multi-camera sitcoms these days, or at least not new ones, right? A lot of the ones that I stick to are like the old ones and kind of those comfort food. So something about like modern sitcoms, it always is like, it's always a little odd, but it's still comfort food in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. Like the laugh tracks and everything. I don't know. I love it.
The laugh tracks, I mean, they are a real audience in there. It is a live audience, that's for sure. But I can't explain it, but old sitcoms to what they are today feel totally different. Yes. I have been binge watching Malcolm in the Middle. I think I'm on season 6 already. I just started like a couple weeks ago. I'm already on season 6. Malcolm in the Middle is so underrated. I'm excited that they're doing a revival series, but I don't know why that show got canceled or ended, because it didn't need to, because even watching it now, it feels like a brand new show. That's how good that show is.
Interesting.
And it's on Disney Plus / Hulu. I guess when they're tied in, it's on the same platform. Were you a big Malcolm in the Middle fan?
I caught it here and there. I didn't watch it all the time, but I've definitely seen multiple episodes, and I could still sing the theme song, but I'm not going to do that on this show.
I love that theme song.
Not for pride reasons, for copyright infringement, of course.
Yeah, but like I said, we're rolling out the virtual red carpet for the 2024 Nerdtropolis Movie Awards, the first live stream. I'm super excited. These awards always celebrate the very best in cinema. We got action, we got drama, sci-fi, comedies, everything. Male and female performance of the year. Best, we got a hidden gem, which I'm really excited about this year. So tons of close, I think 16 categories. And so grab some popcorn, grab drinks. I need a quick sip of my water to settle in and get started, because we got a lot to go through.
Well, while you're taking a sip, if you don't mind me kind of prefacing this, it's worth noting, one of the things that make conversations between Sean and I interesting about movies is that we have very different opinions on movies, and we do agree on a lot of movies, a lot actually, and we disagree on some too. And I think it's worth noting that with this these awards, this is something we came together to discuss and pick. So there's we definitely had to come to agreement on these. So I feel like this is a really cool showcase of like both Drew and Sean movies. And then I think it's also worth noting, just again, you noted it's a weird year in movies. This year is really affected by the strikes that happened in 2023. Like a lot of things got moved out of this year, so on. So we're seeing the effects there, which may be why it was harder to pick like action movies and comic book movies and things like that that normally I feel like we would have a surplus of things to choose from. And then, yeah, I think that was the main things kind of worth noting. Also, there's just a weird blend of genres and movies this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like, picking a drama is a lot more difficult than you would think, because a lot of the dramas that I liked were like, well, they're also kind of comedy, or they're kind of romantic, or I would look at a movie and I'd be like, well, I'd place it in the drama category, but it was just nominated at the Golden Globes and it was in musical or comedy, things like that. So it's like, it was kind of hard to pick. So these are our awards. I feel like we get ownership of these. If you don't like it, then that's too bad. This is the Nerdtropolis show.
It is, but in the future, as we continue to grow this grassroots awards thing, it's this fun for us. We do want to get audience involvement. I do want to make this an in-person event. I've always wanted to do that since day one. It's just so hard, and just the times we've been in the last few years.
That would be
difficult.
Amazing, though.
So that is still in the brain, is to do a live in-person event. Even it'd be cool if we could do it at a movie theater. Like that's like the ideal, like cool spot to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an interesting year for movies for sure. But looking forward to 2025. Check out our previous episode where we talked about our favorite movies from 2024 and what we look for in 2025. I do want to kick off the very first award that technically we did already announce for those that are following us. Kick it off with the Lance Reddick Legacy Luminary Award winner. This was created. It's the most personal award. If you follow my journey, you know anything. This is one of the most personal awards ever in my life. It honors the late actor Lance Reddick, who's obviously known for his roles in The Wire, the John Wick franchise, and so many more. I mean, he's in so many things. The Destiny video game franchise, and so many other projects. And, Lance Reddick's legacy extends beyond his filmography. He was remembered as a mentor, a friend, a source of inspiration. Everyone adored him, so it's very sad, when we did lose him. He was my first in-person interview. This award, which I love about, is supported by the Reddick family. Mrs. Reddick herself loves this idea that I presented her previously and has always been on board, always in the process of, who we want to select. And it's always based on people I personally interviewed. So this year's recipient of the Lance Reddick Luminary Award is Mr. LeVar Burton. I know everybody grew up with Mr. LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow, Star Trek. And what was really cool about this, last year's winners were the directors of Bad Boys, Adil and Bilal. And they live so far away, but we're able to get word of this, and they sent an awesome, video thanking for the award. This one came about to do in person, Drew. I got to present this in person, which was amazing. The Lance Reddick Legacy Luminary Award to LeVar Burton. And let me see if I can get this video up for all y'all to watch. Let's see.
Wrap up this discussion. We're running out of time. I do want to end on a very special moment, actually. Over the years, I've done over 150 interviews with actors and directors that have left a lasting effect. I mean, feels so great to be here with everyone here. But there's one that really left a mark in my life, and that was the late Lance Reddick. And to honor his enduring legacy of a beloved actor, last year we created the Lance Reddick Legacy Luminary Award with the Reddick's family, and that's something we would do annually in Nerdtropolis. And it's a really important award because it has the full support and blessing of the Reddick family. And Lance was a remarkable actor and a cherished friend that mentored many people. But I want to present this special award to you, Mr. LeVar Burton. Your passion, talent, and dedication have not only shaped your career, but has also inspired countless others in the industry. Your work in film, television, and literature exemplifies the spirit and the award, the qualities we seek to celebrate the same self that Mr. Lance Reddick had himself. So I wanted to present with you the Lance Reddick Legacy Luminary Award.
Yeah, that was just awesome. He was definitely very, very shocked about that. There it is right there. So that was a very emotional presentation for me personally. Just watching, I haven't watched that in a long time. That video. So that was definitely really great to do that, and I hope we can do these in person, especially this specific award, because it means so much to me personally in Nerdtropolis, and it's a very powerful award as well. So once again, congratulations to Mr. LeVar Burton for the receiving the Lance Reddick Legacy Luminary Award. Please check out that interview we had with Mr. LeVar Burton, which was amazing, talking about Reading Rainbow. That was a great conversation we had. So this award will always be based on interviews, Nerdtropolis interviews. We got Manuel here. Congratulations, LeVar Burton, for the Lance Reddick Award. So, yeah, very powerful award, and that's how I wanted to kick off the Nerdtropolis Awards. Drew, do you want to start off with our next category for a hidden gem? Do you want to announce this one?
We can. Yes. So
let's describe. I guess what do you want to describe what hidden gem is as well, and kind of give some background?
Yeah, I think a hidden gem is just maybe a movie that was not super widely seen, maybe had like a more limited release or something that we can kind of utilize this category to shine a spotlight on, to say, hey, if you haven't seen this movie, this is really one that you should go out of your way to check out, because maybe you can help spread the word of this one. And this one is one that Sean and I actually got to see in 2023 at Fantastic Fest, but it didn't get released really beyond that until 2024. And I feel like it got a great reception this year. But that's the movie Strange Darling. And Sean, we positively reviewed this movie after Fantastic Fest. I've seen a really positive response to this movie when it did get a limited release this year. And I think it's a difficult one to talk about because I don't want to give away anything about it. We had the unique experience of seeing it with literally no trailer, no nothing. We knew nothing about this movie. And I think the way that it's told kind of out of order, it has a really unique structure. And I can't stress enough just how much fun I thought this movie was and how off guard it caught me. So Strange Darling is the winner of the Hidden Gem.
Yeah, what a film that was. It's a chilling game of cat and mouse. It's going to keep audiences guessing at every turn for many reasons. I have to rewatch it. I don't know when it's going to be available. I don't know if it's out on digital since by now, but yeah,
it is. Yeah, you can get it. You can get it on premium VOD services. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere like on Netflix or anything like that, but I know that you can probably rent it for relatively cheap on like Apple or something like that. Apple or Amazon, anywhere where you can rent movies.
Yeah, and whoever picks this up, whatever streaming service picks up, like the Max or Netflix, is going to have a number one hit on their hands. Once this gets out on a real streaming service and people start watching it and word of mouth gets out, it's going to be number one. That's the type of movie this is. It is amazing. Drew, I'm going to actually let you keep going. You're on a roll, and you can tell my voice is slowly going out, so I want to preserve it as much as possible.
If you want, I can kind of go with the next two back to back because we had a little discussion about this. The next two awards are Independent Movie of the Year and Arthouse Movie of the Year. And Sean and I talked a little bit about this because I feel like sometimes Independent and Arthouse can be a little bit interchangeable, but these we really had some unique views for what those meant. So for Independent Movie of the Year, it is Anora. This was on my top 5 of the year when Sean and I did that podcast. If you want to hear me talk about it at length, please go check it out. This is one of those ones that I found it hard to put into the other categories. Like this is part drama, it's part romantic comedy, it's kind of everything. There's even some action scenes in it to an extent. So absolutely one of my favorite movies of the year. This one might come up in conversation later. So yeah, best independent movie of the year is Anora. This was an easy decision for me.
We'll just say it's a modern day Pretty Woman. Check it out.
Yes.
It's our independent movie of the year. And, next up, Drew is going to talk about the Arthouse movie. And, the Arthouse, we've done Arthouse before, and it's kind of a film that's does something different that's kind of out of the norm for films, a lot of things. And this film definitely is out of the norm when it comes to movie theater experience and theater experience for many reasons. And, Drew, I'll let you go on that.
Yeah, for Arthouse Movie of the Year, we chose The Brutalist. And this is a 3.5-hour movie with a built-in 15-minute intermission. It's long. It takes its time. This is really the director's vision and Brady Corbet and really getting full control over the film that he wanted to make and his vision. And Laszlo Toth, the lead character played by Adrian Brody, his vision in the movie as well. And this one actually is so fitting for Arthouse Movie of the Year, especially because if you follow this movie at all on social media and what Brady Corbet's posting about it, it's a lot of like how this movie was filmed and what they did to get the architecture, on screen and how, just all the different camera techniques and things that they did. Like there's a lot of art that went into the making of this movie, and which is why it's extremely fitting for this to be Arthouse Movie of the Year.
Yeah, it's a great fit. And I know, speaking of, I know Manuel keeps saying, I don't know if I can watch the 3.5-hour movie with intermission, watch it at home, but I don't know. I think this is a film you might want to try to watch in theater because it's going to give you a different in theater experience with that intermission. Because technically at home you can give yourself an intermission whenever you want. So.
I'm not gonna lie, and like to be completely honest, had I watched this at home, good chance I would have like been picking up my phone or something on occasion. Because there are moments where the movie takes time to breathe. But I saw this in the theater, so I was just totally invested in it the entire time and captured by it, and was able to watch it with no distractions, which is of course the best way to view the whole package.
Yeah, that is true. We got so used to watching movies at home, but we gotta get back into that in theater experience, which I really love. Especially when you can do something in IMAX. So I always talk IMAX as much as I can. So there you go, best art house film, The Brutalist, and then our next one is category is documentary of the year. And real quick before we start moving forward, if you want to see previous year's winners, we have just search on our website Nerdtropolis Awards, and you'll see past year's winners for all these categories. Mostly they're very similar. Maybe we change things up, every year with a couple of different things. But excited for documentary of the year, which goes to Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. This is such an inspiring documentary. I got to watch this actually in theater. I believe this is now streaming on Max. Chronicles the life of and legacy of Christopher Reeve, as we know as our OG Superman, and then his life-changing accident that occurred. A lot of home videos in this documentary, like very authentic home videos that he was taking and everyone else was taking, and just as kids talking about how they adapted their life. It's a tearjerker. It is sad. It is inspiring. It's gonna have you walking out after you watch it with so many feelings. And it was just such a powerful documentary. One that was so good. Obviously, James Gunn said we're gonna make this a DC studio title. So they bought the rights to it to bring it underneath that banner, which shows a lot. If James Gunn wants to have it as technically their first DC studio, right? Is that their first DC studio project that they got to put underneath the banner? I believe
yeah,
so.
I guess so, because it came out before like Creature Commandos did. So
yeah. So definitely highly recommend this on Max. Drew, I'm gonna have you take the next one so I can keep preserving my voice too.
The next one is Family Movie of the Year, and thank you to Sean for just letting me have my way with this one, because he knows how much I love The Wild Robot.
It's a tough. I will say some of these categories when you get to animated and family, because we've always had animated and family film, those are probably the two hardest ones to decide how it goes, based on almost every animated film is a family movie, first of all. So that's why that also works. So it's a very tricky category. But go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I got to see this one at Fantastic Fest and fell in love with it. Have since been able to enjoy it with my wife and daughter, and they all really loved it as well. It brings a tear to my eye. I mean, what more do you need from a family movie of the year? And it really is about family. It's about like parenting and letting your kid fly and and protecting your child and things like that. All the things that, of course, plug at my heartstrings for sure. But The Wild Robot, for sure, one of my favorite movies of the year, and easily my favorite family movie of the year.
Yeah, and it's based on a beloved book. It's if you have not heard of the book, go check it out. It's really awesome. It is a heartwarming animated adventure. Universal is doing some really good stuff, and they're planning more stuff, I think, in the animation world, which I really think is where they excel the most, outside of some of their other bigger films and so forth. So definitely check out The Wild Robot if you haven't yet. Is it streaming somewhere?
No, I don't think so
Not yet.
I think it's still just on PVOD. You can rent it.
Maybe Peacock soon. Maybe real soon. Who knows?
Who did The Wild Robot? I'm not even sure which studio it's from.
It's
a Universal. Oh, it is Universal.
It is
Universal.
Universal.
It'll be on Peacock eventually.
Yeah, it's Universal. So, yeah, great creators behind that film as well. We're gonna move to comedy of the year, which I asked Drew, I was like, Drew, there wasn't many comedies. I feel like
one of
true
the
comedies.
Surprising difficult categories to pick. I looked through my entire Letterboxd diary of like looking for comedies I watched this year, and there were some that were blended, like action comedy and things, but not that I felt comfortable putting in this category. So in a way, not to talk down on this movie, but like I feel like it kind of wins by default.
I mean, I don't know, but also we're also looking at films that were offered in theaters. If you go look back at everything we mostly try to do for the Nerdtropolis Awards, is stuff that got a theatrical release. I know there's a lot of great stuff on streaming, but like, not trying to be it's nothing political at all. We're just trying to do things that it is a in theater experience for all these films you could have checked out throughout the year.
We are the moviegoers society, which means physically going to the movies.
There you go, Drew. That was the right way for me to say that. Emphasize the name. But yes, we have comedy of the year that goes to Saturday Night. This really funny and heartfelt ode to the late night comedy. SNL behind the scenes look at the first night that really goes according to plan by not going according to plan. I thought it was a pretty interesting look at the chaos of live television, and yeah, tons of sharp humor, pretty good casting, I must say, for people playing the roles, embodying the iconic SNL characters. And yeah, that's really to me the top comedy. Gotta be Saturday Night.
I do really like this movie. I think this movie's a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of differing opinions about this one, but I think that overall it's a fun experience. Unless you're like an intense Saturday Night Live, historian or enthusiast, and you want to pick apart all the things that are wrong. But that's not me. I was able to just enjoy this movie and have a great time with it.
Yeah, it's I think we need more comedies going into this year and future. At one point, we had a lot of R-rated comedies making a comeback, and then it kind of died down. So now I kind of hope we get more of that in the coming years. Drew, go for the next one. Go for our horror movie of the year.
Horror movie of the year is another one that made it onto my top 5 list. If you want to check that out from our previous episode, but horror movie of the year is The Substance, and I'm so glad. So first off, not for the weak of heart, for sure. This is, a kind of famed body horror movie of 2024 starring Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. And I just had such a great time with this disgusting and amazing tale, and it made sense to make it the horror movie of the year. It's very interesting watching how this one is kind of rising in the ranks as far as the big award shows go. Like Demi Moore's win at the Golden Globes seems to have solidified that she's probably going to get an Oscar nomination. And I think The Substance is arriving on everybody's radars. And I did tweet in the past week, I'm like, shout out to all the normies who are now going to check out The Substance because of its awards play. And they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. So definitely my horror movie of the year.
No, that's awesome, and Demi Moore, well deserved with all the accolades she's getting, and we'll see where it takes her in the coming other awards. We got a handful coming up for sure, and this is still maybe playing in theaters. I don't think it's even pulled out yet.
It's no, I think it's not really showing anymore. You can the streaming service Mubi, it is streaming on there, and usually you can, if you've never had that before, you can get a free subscription through, or a free trial, I should say, through like Apple or Amazon. So I recommend doing that if you want to check this out. Otherwise, I think you can get it on PVOD for like $6 to rent or something of the sort. So it's on there. I actually this came out the same weekend that I was at Fantastic Fest, and by the time that I was home from the festival, like it was kind of out of theaters pretty quickly around us, even though it ended up having a really great theatrical run. And so I caught this as soon as I could when it was on PVOD. So I loved this movie.
Yeah, it's trending a lot on Twitter still, to this day, which is really awesome. So definitely
Twitter has become a meme machine. This movie, a lot of memes coming out of this movie for sure.
Yeah, well deserved best horror, The Substance. We're gonna move on to drama of the year. Our pick for drama of the year goes to A Complete Unknown, the story of Bob Dylan and his kind of his rise. It really is a fantastic film. I think one of the best easily of 2024. It came out so late, Drew, just so late. I'm not sure how it's doing at the box office, but it is actually a really fantastic film about that folk legend. And Timothée, I like saying Timothée, you know how I say his name all the time. Chalamet, man, he's got a great year, and he has more ahead of him, and that's for sure. Electrifying performances, fantastic cast, great writing, great music. He's singing all the Bob Dylan songs himself and performing and playing a guitar, so it's so authentic. Nothing's faked in this film. I love Edward Norton in this movie. I'm back on that Edward Norton, bandwagon, because when I was growing up, I loved everything he was in, and I feel like he kind of fell off for a little bit. Maybe the last couple of years, but now I need to go back and see what I've missed from him, because he is so good.
When we did our top fives, I actually hadn't seen this yet, and I have had a chance to see it now, and I really enjoyed the performances in it. Like I thought Timothée Chalamet was really great, and Edward Norton I thought was wonderful as well. And as well as I don't have her, I think it's Monica Barbaro is her name, who played, oh gosh, I don't have that at all in front of me. She's wonderful in it, and the thing about this movie, Timothy Chalamet on one of the all-time like awards junket and like press runs for this movie, just showing up on like College Game Day. I don't know if you saw this, Sean.
Yeah,
He just got booked as the host of SNL, but he's also the musical guest for SNL. Just incredible stuff from young Timothy Chalamet. I'm so glad that we have many, many more years to come of watching him.
Yeah, he's so young, so talented. I mean, he commits. And he committed so much to this role. And to be honest, though, regardless of Timothy being in the starring role, I think without Edward Norton, this film wouldn't have done that well. I think Edward Norton and his character and them butting heads and everything else is really, and the way they butt heads, it's you have to watch to understand what I'm talking about. He does such a great job because he does play a very likable character at the same time, Edward Norton. And so it's
Monica Barbaro, who played Joan Baez in this movie.
Yes.
Sorry, I could not make my brain work fast enough when I was on the spot. So.
No, it is fantastic. Drama of the year, a complete unknown. Check it out. This should still be in theaters. So definitely go watch it if you can. Wonderful, wonderful movie experience. Our next category is also a film that I had a wonderful, wonderful experience in catching it in IMAX. Our action movie of the year goes to Civil War. I said this on one of our podcasts. I said, Drew, what I saw with Civil War would have made like a great, Call of Duty type film, just the way they filmed it. I would have watched something like that. But this is a adrenaline-fueled thriller full of crazy action, tension, anxiety, portraying a near-future America torn apart by warfare. Great cast, great writing, obviously. Great director. You saw this in IMAX. Did you get a chance to watch this? When did you watch this one?
I didn't see it in IMAX. I saw it in Dolby, so I still had a really good experience with it.
The sound was really awesome in this, and the cinematography was amazing. Civil War, I wish they re-released this in IMAX, as I think IMAX should start like showing films that are really made for that. Just like when they did for Seven. They just showed Seven again in IMAX. That was restored, 4K restoration. But action movie of the year, Civil War, was easily one of my top 5 of 2024. And then I'm gonna say this: A24 is having a good year in 2024.
A24 had a really awesome year. I mean,
20A24 was the year. That's what you call it.
That's good. Surely, you know what? Yeah, copyright that one, Sean. That was good. That was a good joke. I really enjoyed that.
20A24. Moving along, animated film of the year has to go to another pair of robots, I guess. Transformers.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, animated and family movie of the year.
The robots are taking over. Transformers 1, an origin story of the beloved Transformers franchise. What a great animation, action-packed. If you're going to do an animated Transformer film in modern times, this was the way to do it. I will say this, I'm sad that it didn't do as well at the box office as it should have. I'm not sure why, but it is such a great film. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. The storyline's fantastic. The voice cast, a couple twists and turns you kind of don't see coming if you're really enjoying it, what you're watching. And I think it's great for all ages, but for animation, I thought this was one of the best looking of the year, especially when it comes to reinventing Transformers in animation, because we've seen that over the years when it comes for television, from the original film from the 80s. If this is what Transformers animated looks like, I love it. And we need Transformers 2 they're gonna call it. I don't know what they call the next one when it happened. But this is one I wished I watched on IMAX when it was offered to us, but I watched a little bit earlier and they had it just on a regular screen. So I missed out on the IMAX screening for this one, I must say, which kind of disappoints me.
This movie ruled. I'm not like the biggest Transformers fan, and this is probably my favorite Transformers movie. Like, I had a great time with it, and and it looked great. The animation was great, so it fits this category. And yeah, I hope that they're able to do more within the animated feature film, world that they set up for this in particular.
Yeah, it just hit so hard for a Transformers film. It was amazing. Drew, I'm gonna let you take the next one.
Next one is Sci-Fi movie of the year. Easy pick here. Of course, it's Dune Part 2. Does it get more sci-fi than Dune? I mean, honestly, loved Dune Part 1 and loved Dune Part 2 just as much, if not more. even though I like the first half of the book, the novel, more than I like the latter half. But I thought the movie wise, this part was incredible. And yeah, I mean, what's there to say? Giant sandworms, cool, sand suits, and just all kinds of good lore with this story. Just Denis Villeneuve knew what he was doing when he took on the Dune franchise, and just an all-star cast of so many young up-and-coming people. I mean, that's getting beyond the sci-fi, but just easily the sci-fi movie of the year. And it looks like we're going to be getting more Dune in the future. Although I have to admit, Sean, I have not had a chance to watch Dune Prophecy yet. Did you watch it?
I watched 1 or 2 episodes. I liked it. Didn't hate it.
I heard mixed things about the show.
I was intrigued by it, but I'm not like a Dune fanatic like many. But I did like what I saw. I thought it was very quality-like. I just get confused, I guess. Like I'm trying to connect how it connects to everything else. And maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I just need to turn off my brain and watch it. That's what I guys do, probably. But
regardless,
yeah, this is something I wish we watched. We watched it together, but we didn't get to watch it in IMAX, which was a shame.
Yeah, shocking. Especially because it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was a daytime showing. So like it was not a busy time.
Yeah, it's just tough sometimes. I don't know how they do it, but I would love to watch everything in IMAX. I'm trying to remember now for our next category. If I watch this film in IMAX, I don't recall how I watched this film. But our next category is comic book movie of the year. Probably my favorite category that we have. And I'm
another movie that could have fit into action. It could have fit into comedy. It could, and then. But
if we had a musical category, I probably would have gave it to it too, because of the musical number at the beginning.
Yeah, I see. There you go.
I would say this: the 2024 was also the year of popcorn buckets. As you can see behind me, there is a popcorn bucket that is kind of alluding to what we'll be announcing. But there's a lot of crazy popcorn buckets that came out last year, which was wild. Even for Dune Part 2, did they bring something out?
I think Dune kind of started the trend for better or for worse with the sandworm popcorn bucket. Now everybody's gonna have a popcorn bucket.
But also for like that Lord of the Rings animated movie, they like literally made a hammer and a stein for the drinks, and it was like there's a lot of stuff. But yes, comic book movie of the year goes to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh yeah, did we even say it? Sorry, we just
no, we didn't. I was holding on to it. A fourth wall breaking adventure. Hilarious, action-packed, full of cameos. Farewells to Marvel Fox, as you want to call it. I mean, Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. Everything, all the Easter eggs. We broke down most of the Easter eggs or cameos is what we did in one of the previous episodes talking about this movie. But no doubt, Deadpool and Wolverine, easily the best comic book movie of the year. Close second came Kraven the Hunter. And
I was gonna say, like, the problem with Deadpool and Wolverine this year is that it was like really the only great one. Like the competition here, it was like, what was Deadpool and Wolverine? If you had to do 5 nominees, I guess by default it's Deadpool, Wolverine, Kraven, Madam Web, Venom, and that Hellboy movie that went straight to VOD. Yeah, like I don't know, or the Crow remake. Like, what are you even putting in the 5 and nomination slots?
I forgot that we have comments on the sides here, and I feel really bad because we do have some people commenting. I'm gonna do a couple real quick. They might be. Emmanuel did say the Wild Robot starts streaming January 24th on Peacock, so heads up on that.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
But let's talk Deadpool Wolverine real quick. Marie says that she saw the movie twice in theaters. Great pick. And then
I also did, Marie. I also saw it twice in theaters.
Only choice, Emmanuel says, Deadpool and Wolverine is the only choice for comic movie of the year. Like I said, Kraven the Hunter came in close second. Very close.
Come on, Emmanuel. Where's the Madam Web hive here? I know that movie was going viral when it went on.
Did that
Netflix
come out last
finally.
year? Was that 2024?
Yeah, that was a February release.
Oh, see, okay, I forgot about that.
I also, don't judge me, saw Madam Web twice in theaters.
I know, you told me that. I think we had that discussion. To be honest, I'm gonna say this. I've had fun with all those movies. I didn't want to walk out of any of them. So I would just say that. Like, I actually enjoyed the entertainment that was in front of me for those films. It's just, was a little bit disappointment, but they weren't horrible films.
And I will say, on behalf of Kraven the Hunter in particular, a movie that I did not think was very good, but it has been ripped apart. It's ripped to shreds. And like, I don't think it was great, but I also don't feel like it's worthy of the extreme hate that it's getting. I think that there's some really terrible dialogue and line deliveries in it, but the action scenes in it are actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty good, which is, a lot more than we can say for something like Madam Web or Morbius, which I think Craven is much better than those movies. I know this is low hanging fruit, not a very high bar,
but it's a rated R action too, which was fun. But rated R, the top rated R comic book movie, of course, goes to Deadpool and Wolverine. Back to that.
Yeah,
the ultimate rated R comic book movie to me, which was
I
amazing.
said this on our top 5 movies podcast as well. Like, go check out Sean and my review of this if you want to listen to it that we did when it came out. I had like just walked out of the theater when we recorded our episode, and so I was like coming to terms with my thoughts. But it still remains one of my favorite podcasts that we recorded in 2024. Was our Deadpool and Wolverine review.
There you go. Podcast of the year goes to our Moviegoer Society episode of Deadpool and Wolverine as well.
I don't know if that works that way. As we're giving out awards that we can just give awards to ourselves too. I don't know.
Well, you just said that was your favorite one, so let's give it to that one. We're gonna move on to box office achievement. This is something I decided to add because I'm not trying to get political or anything, but like I thought we needed an authentic box office achievement award. From what I saw previously that happened, which was kind of weird to me how it worked.
Well, yeah, they tried to kind of add this in the Oscars previously, and then they canceled it. They've added a variation of this award at the Golden Globes, and it's kind of unclear of what this is even supposed to be, because it's like they're not awarding it to the movie that actually made the most money of the year, but they're also not awarding it to a movie that, like, from budget to total box office gross comparatively. It's like, I'll be the one that says it, Sean. Like, it clearly seems like they gave that award to Wicked during the Golden Globes just to be able to have Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and
to have them show up,
Chu
just have them,
and
to show up.
Everybody from Wicked be able to come up on stage, because that movie has been like a really hot topic and kind of a phenomenon recently, at least in the US. So, I get it from that standpoint, but like, is it truly the box office achievement? No. And so when we chose this award for ourselves, we wanted to really give it to something that, like, based on the budget and how much money it made, so on and so forth, like, it truly is a box office achievement. And so that is why we awarded box office achievement to Terrifier 3, which is the independent movie franchise that could. This series has become kind of undeniable amongst horror fans, and even, theatrical released. Terrifier 3, when it came out, was the #1 movie at the box office the weekend it came out, which is insane considering the origins of this franchise. Terrifier 2 was made for like a micro budget. Terrifier 2 was made for $250,000 and made over $15 million. Right. That percentage return is incredible. Terrifier 3 had an increased budget because of that success, $2 million, and made almost $100 million, which is just, again, we're talking about the success rate here, and Terrifier 3 is clearly one of the insane box office successes of the year.
Especially for a film that was unrated, I believe. It's an unrated film. Somewhat of a limited release too, special events, screenings, and on a $2 million budget, grossing about $100 million is wild for something that's not wildly known, and where other films with well-known characters and actors not even making their money back. And we definitely want to reflect on. We all know what the obvious picks would have been for box office achievement, but like we wanted to also showcase what this category should also mean is true achievements from being like just technically a small movie, but breaking records and really making it splash when everything's working against them pretty much, to say you're not going to be able to succeed.
Yeah, like, you can't really talk about box office without mentioning Inside Out 2, which went on to make like $1.7 billion in that realm and has become the highest grossing animated film of all time. Like, that is an insane achievement, but that's also a huge Disney Pixar release with a big budget, and it's a sequel in a franchise. And like, Terrifier 3 is a sequel in a franchise too, but just, an independent franchise not backed by the Mouse House. So I think that this is a unique one. To be fair, I saw this at Fantastic Fest. Sean and I weren't even going to do an episode on this movie, and then I pushed to do it at the time because when it did get released and it was #1 at the box office, it was like, we can't not talk about Terrifier 3 now because it's such a big deal. So that's why we gave it box office achievement.
Yeah, well deserved. I mean, it's just surprised that the whole story about this, the self-producing films with the director, the creator, and how Art the Clown now is just like now a well-known character.
It's just so wild. It's so wild.
No, it is wild. I feel my voice is still going. I might have you just finish off the last three. Is all you.
Well, let's do it. Okay, so and what's left is we have male performance of the year, female performance of the year, and visionary director of the year. So we've given out all of our big film awards. So these are the only ones that are kind of circling back on some movies we've talked about. And for male performance of the year, we chose Adrian Brody from The Brutalist. And one of the things that I said in our top 5 podcasts was just that Adrian Brody, who's already an Oscar-winning actor, and I enjoy seeing him in things. In this movie, I was just blown away by him. I was like, Adrian Brody is one of the great actors, and I just didn't realize what we really had here. And it just goes to show when used the right way, Adrian Brody can be just incredible. And so for me, when it comes to male performance of the year, this was a no-brainer. I think there have been some other really great performances this year. We talked about Timothée Chalamet a little bit. Of course, like Ray Fiennes is getting a lot of acclaim for Conclave, and all these different actors have different narratives for them in the awards race. But for me, when it truly comes to the Moviegoer Society Best Male Performance of the Year, it was Adrian Brody.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And, it's a career-defining performance. And the film itself is something so unique and special about, loss, love, political turmoil. I asked Drew, I was like, is this based on anything? I'm like, no, it's not a true story at all. It's this, but it just feels so real. The story and the performances are raw. And yeah, what's the runtime on this, on The Brutalist, you said? It was
about 3.5 hours with the 15-minute intermission built in. So 3:15 without intermission.
Yeah. So The Brutalist is going to probably be talked about for a while as we go into more awards and especially his performance.
And because the male performance of the year, like for best actor this year, the race is really kind of up in the air because it seemed like early on in the race, you had Ray Fiennes, who is kind of getting the "it's time" narrative. Like he's been around for so long. He
has never won anything. I like him a lot. I'm surprised. I don't think the proper film has come. I mean, to be honest, I loved him in The Menu. I thought that would have been like the film for him to do it, but that didn't really happen, sadly.
I loved him in that too, and
I like Conclave. I liked him in Conclave, but I didn't feel like that's like the career-defining performance for him yet. I think he needs to do something a little different, a little more wild.
I agree, and it's just like this is what happens with these award races, right? Because the not the Moviegoer Society, but like when you get to the Oscars, they are politicized in a way, and these things come up, and it's like, yeah, it's time for Ray Fiennes to get his best actor due, and it could be that. But then you have Timothée Chalamet, who's on this amazing campaign, and his performance as Bob Dylan has been very positively received. But then The Brutalist has kind of come in and marked itself as a huge awards player too, and Adrian Brody's really great in it, and he's already won an Oscar, but this is still kind of like an amazing comeback in a way for him too, and it could get him his second Oscar. So we'll see what happens. The best actor race is a really fun one to watch this year, but for the Moviegoer Society, Adrian Brody is the male performance of the year.
Yeah, fantastic. Want to take on the next one? We got a female performance of the year. That's all yours, Drew, as well.
Yeah, and this is going to go to Mikey Madison for Anora. And I was extremely taken with Mikey Madison's performance in this movie. And, it's interesting. Sorry to compare everything that we're doing here to the awards race and the Oscars, but it's been an interesting race this year. And for a long time, it has seemed like Mikey Madison was like the sure bet winner for Best Actress at the Oscars this year. But it's like almost when that narrative goes on for too long, things start to get shaken up at the end. And when you have like this win by Demi Moore at the Golden Globes, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the awards race. But for me, as much as I loved The Substance and some of these other,
and I also watched like Last Showgirl. I watched that as well. I thought that was a great performance by Pamela, but
I haven't gotten to see it yet.
I did, and then but watching Anora, I thought she killed it. I mean, from the beginning to the end, and everything that her character deals with, and everything, and how the movie is funny at times, surprisingly, and then it gets really dark at times, and then just some of the action parts of it too. She carries that film. Like, she truly carries the film. I think if you brought someone else in that role, I'm not sure how it would do. But honestly, what was the last film that she was in? I only know her honestly from Scream. When
she's in Scream, and she's in a small role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's right. She is. Yep. That's okay. So this is her big break.
Yeah, this is definitely her big break, and it is common in these awards races that when you get like a young performer like this, she's only, I don't know how old she is, but she's
like 23.
She's really, she's young. It's common that sometimes in this race that young actresses are awarded, kind of deemed like the new thing, as a new up and comer at the awards race. And
I don't know. This year could be the opposite though.
It could be. You're right.
The veteran actors are back, and we had to see how.
You're absolutely right, but I think that as far as a young performer goes, she's incredibly talented, and her performance in Anora is just extremely striking, and she's incredible in it. So this is one of my favorite. This was my number one movie of the year, Anora, and so it's easy for me to give her this award. But
no, definitely, what a performance she does, and like I said, that was the reason that film was so good. But also the supporting cast is also pretty good as well. But she really made this film truly believable and really entertaining as well. We got one final category, Drew. I hope everyone liked the order we're doing these. You never know how to do an order, but I thought this was the best way to end it. And yeah, Drew, it's all yours. Conclude the 2024 Nerdtropolis Awards for us.
This would be for Visionary Director of the Year. And I think the word visionary really stands out here. And who better to give this award to than Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2? Hey, Sean, I'm curious, what's your introduction to Denis Villeneuve as a director? Do you know what the first movie of his you saw was?
Blade Runner. What did he do before Blade Runner?
Arrival.
I didn't see Arrival. I think Blade Runner is. And honestly, that's one of I keep forgetting about that film for some reason. But honestly, when I keep remembering it, it's probably one of the best films in the sci-fi realm ever made. Especially a sequel to the original Blade Runner, which I would thought would have been so hard to make. And it's like, how do you make sense of it, making a sequel? And he did such a great job visually, story-wise, casting-wise. It's a great film. I kind of want that film to be shown on IMAX. Like, if they say, hey, there's an IMAX screening of that Blade Runner film, I will run to the theater to watch that. So every time I hear his name since Blade Runner, I'm like, give him whatever. I don't care. Give him whatever you want. He is a fantastic filmmaker, especially someone that has the balls to make a Blade Runner sequel. And that says he's going to tackle Dune as well. He is fearless. And that's why we selected him as the Visionary Director of the Year.
So I saw Arrival in theaters, and had seen the trailers and thought the trailers looked okay. And I was like, I like sci-fi. I like Amy Adams. Let me go check this out. And I was kind of blown away by Arrival. I thought it was incredible. And then the next year when Blade Runner 2049 came out, I actually went and saw it on opening night in IMAX. And I kid you not, still probably the best theatrical experience I've had for the past 10 years. Like, I just was so into this movie, and I love Blade Runner anyway. And I just thought it was so incredibly well done. And that's when Denis Villeneuve became like, this is one of my guys. Like, this is a guy who, if he's got a movie coming out, I'm going to go see it. And that's when I caught up on Prisoners and Sicario and some of the other movies that he's done.
That's right. Sicario as well. Yes. I forget that's him. Yep.
Yeah. And then the Dune franchise has really just solidified him as like, this is one of the best in the game. I think not just at sci-fi. I think, he could go into any genre and master it. But Dune Part 2, I think, is just an absolutely incredible achievement. Both Dune movies, really. And in the awards race, I feel like Dune Part 2 is starting to get overlooked. It came out in March. It's been a while, and
which is a shame.
I'm glad that we have a platform where we can really hype it up, and because not only is it our sci-fi movie of the year, but Denis Villeneuve is our Visionary Director of the Year.
If he can make something like the first Dune movie was visually amazing. For people that don't know Dune, like myself, Drew's the Dune guy. I'm not. Really enjoy it and want more and return to the theater to watch it is fantastic. You know, so I loved everything Dune that's being presented to us, and definitely wanted to. Oh, what do you got?
I have my Dune novels right there on the shelf behind me. I have Dune right here, and I have Dune Messiah right here. I had them right behind me.
So you said like if he does anything outside sci-fi, it would be great. But I kind of want him to focus on sci-fi because I feel like it's a genre that needs someone like him to keep pushing the boundaries. Great storytelling, great visuals, and I don't see anyone else really taking the reins of this genre very well. And you know, outside of the Star Wars and Star Trek and all that other stuff, when it comes to sci-fi, I think if he can find after what's the third one going to call Messiah? Is that Dune Messiah? Mm-hmm. He's done with Dune, so I wonder where he would go next.
And Dune Messiah is like where Dune stuff starts getting really weird. Like Dune stuff's weird anyway, but it starts getting really strange in Messiah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I think it's worth noting, like Blade Runner, making a sequel to Blade Runner, it's like, who could do that? Like, is that even a movie you can make a sequel to? And Dune is considered one of the novels of like, this is almost unfilmable, is what people have always said. And Denis Villeneuve has gone and, you know, above and beyond to, you know, show that those things can be done. So give him any project that people say this can't be done, and guarantee you Denis Villeneuve can do it.
Give him a sci-fi comic book movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He is fantastic. You know, first off, congratulations to all the winners, all the selections, all the movies, actors, directors. It was tough. I tell you, you know, this is our, I believe, the fourth year for us, and it was kind of tough. The year was full of also, we have just movies that surprised us, that just came out of nowhere. A lot of new faces behind the camera and in front of the camera as well. And really excited to see, you know, in the coming weeks, the other award ceremonies, what they're doing. But we're excited to kind of get our 2024 movie awards out the way. It's something we wanted to do last month, but it just happens. It just happens. Especially as we try to make this an in-person event. Hopefully one day. It's super exciting. 2025 is going to be super exciting, guys. You know, we talked about the last episode, our top 5. Maybe we're going to revisit and maybe talk about some other films that are coming out this year. Because there's a lot of stuff that we didn't really mention. But also, I hear tomorrow, Drew, as we wrap things up, Supergirl, World of Tomorrow starts filming tomorrow.
Oh, incredible. Yeah.
So maybe you'll see us jump on here once in a while, talk about certain things. I kind of do want to jump on and always talk about random stuff as well, or stuff that's in the news outside of what we watch, because we're going to be at the theaters, but it's going to be a little tough, I feel like, to catch up doing this year. I just feel like there's just a lot going on. So we're going to do our best to kind of hopefully pop in and do maybe 30 minutes sessions whenever we can. I think that'll be the best way to do it, so we can knock out some more fun episodes.
Yeah, as the year starts ramping up, there's some stuff coming out soon that I really want to see. I haven't gotten a chance to see the new Den of Thieves movie yet, which I've heard
opened up with 15 million, pretty good. Biggest opening for a while for Lionsgate. So congratulations to Lionsgate for getting a pretty good win.
I'm really looking forward to Wolfman. You know, I was a big fan of Lee Whannell's Invisible Man movie that came out a couple of years ago. One of the last couple movies I saw right before the COVID pandemic, if I'm remembering correctly. And so taking on another of the Universal monsters, I'm interested to see. So there's some stuff coming out that hopefully will be worthy of conversation, as the beginning of the year always starts up a little slow before we start getting some big releases.
But not this time. We started off with a bang with our first 2 episodes talking about 2024 and 2025 and doing our Nerdtropolis Awards, which was super exciting to do live. So I want to thank all y'all that were watching live, commenting, everyone watching on replay as well, sharing, leaving comments. Tell us what your favorite movie of 2024 is. Tell us what we got wrong, which we don't think we got anything wrong, but just let us know. We like hearing everyone's comments. Surprises, maybe what your hidden gem is of that year. So I do want to say thank y'all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and share all the great Nerdtropolis content. And thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Moviegoer Society. Once again, I'm Sean Chargeport, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and we're going to see you all at the movies.